Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Because the invitation. There you go. Yeah, that's that one next to you, right? Good afternoon. Welcome to the Transportation Planning Organization meeting for May the 28th. Item 1 is welcome and call to order. Item 2, roll call. Aaron.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Tuck, Mr. Nicely. Here. Ms. Rotman. Mr. Fiskowski. Here. Chair North.
Here.
Mr. Radford. Mr. Volleson. Here. Mayor Cobb. Vice Mayor Turk. Mr. Holliday. Here. Mr. Wiles. Mr. Stovall. Here. Mr. Price. Here. Mr. Stewart. Here. Mr. Huber.
Here.
Mr. Ford is sitting in for lead out here. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Item 3, approval of consent agenda items. Item A, approval of the agenda. Item B, action on the TPO minutes for April 23rd on pages 3 through 23. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passed. Item 4, remarks by the chair. If you haven't got a cup of coffee, go get one. This is gonna be a long couple of days here.
Got some bourbon over here too.
It'll be a fast habit.
Oh.
At a recent meeting of the Commonwealth Transportation Board in Alexandria, Virginia, they voted to transfer $193 million from the construction program to the maintenance program to close the gap on the unexpected impact of this year's winter storms statewide, which totaled $418 million. This leaves about $2.8 billion in construction funding. Programs that were impacted include $40 million from the state of bid repair, $26.7 million from district grant program, $26.7 million from the high priority projects, and $26.7 million from interstate operations and enhancement, and $13.3 million from the Virginia Highway Safety Improvement Program. Transportation reauthorization continues to move forward at the federal level, and staff have been reviewing the proposed Build America 250 program for its potential implications on the RVTPO and the regional commission. At a high level, the bill appears focused on expanding how our funds could be used. For our region, that could create added flexibility to support activities such as corridor studies, technical analysis, early project development, and technical assistance. the local governments as they prepare transportation projects for funding. The bill also appears to offer a broader federal interest in giving TPOs a stronger implementation role, which could create future opportunities for this policy board oversight of planning resources. At this point, no action is being recommended by this body, but staff will continue to monitor the reauthorization process closely. The authorization remains active in Congress, with the House having begun advancing legislation while the Senate process is still developing, which means this is still an appropriate time for the TPO and local partners to share priorities with our congressional delegation and relevant committee meeting offices, particularly on issues such as planning, flexibility, sub-allocation, rural safety, and continued access to formula and discretionary transportation funding. Staff will continue tracking these developments and will report back as the process moves forward. And with that said, at this time, Tammy, I think we need to reach out to both congressmen who serve in our areas, to their staffs here locally, when the time's right and needed, if they're here for a meeting, to get some input, if we have any input. So thinking about that, Chris. Because if you don't speak up, they'll just think everything's hunky dory. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 5 on the program, the Virginia Breeze Program Update. First, I want to read the bio for our guest speaker, Avery Daughtry, is a graduate of the James Madison University with a master's degree in public administration. He has served in local government as a town manager for the town of Roanoke, as well as the outreach and transit to the city of Harrisonburg. He was a member of the Community Transportation Association of Virginia Board of Directors for 2014 through 2020 and joined the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation in 2020 as a statewide programs manager, where he oversees the Commonwealth's intercity bus program, the Virginia Breeze Bus Line. This time, is he on the air?
Yes, he's on.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Welcome. We can hear you. And you have the floor.
Okay, great. Thank you. And do I need to share my slides? Let's see.
Yes, please.
Give me just 1 second here. Doesn't look like I'm able to share my slides. I'm not sure. Okay, thank you. Perfect. Great. Well, good morning, everyone, or afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be with you. And as stated, my name's Avery Daughtry. I work with DRPT. I'm a senior transit programs manager. Today, I wanted to just walk you through briefly an overview of intercity bus in Virginia and kind of talk about improving our connectivity and really what's next for the Virginia Breeze program. Next slide, if you would, please. All right. So to start us off, the Virginia Breeze Network really operates 5 now, as of actually a month ago, 5 statewide routes that connect major regions to those really hard to reach rural communities. And I just want to preface that that is the purpose of Virginia Breeze in its truest sense. And that's how the FTA defines intercity bus, is really having an emphasis on serving those underserved rural communities to provide a regional option for folks to get around to other areas. So our newest route is called the Tidewater Current, and it launched in April of 2026. And that route is very important to us because it creates Virginia's first true east and west intercity bus corridor. So across that system, the Breeze really continues to fill a critical service gap to link travelers to the broader national intercity bus network. Next slide, please. All right. So this slide gives us a map kind of showing a higher level view of the Virginia Breeze bus system. You can see how each route really puts together different regions of the Commonwealth, forming a more cohesive statewide network that connects to both urban centers and rural communities. Of interest, you please take note to having a little difficulty seeing the color, but I believe it's like a light green color connecting Bristol. It's called the Highlands Rhythm Route. So that is the route specific to your region, which currently stops in Salem. All right, next stop, please, or next slide, please. No pun. So zooming in a little bit more locally, this is a look at the Salem bus stop. It's located at the VDOT exit 140 park and ride, where riders can really benefit from free overnight parking. And the stop links directly still to the SmartWay bus system operated by Valley Metro, and some other regional carriers too, that continue into the downtown Roanoke area. But because this is public right of way, this is why this stop originally, when we set up this route back in, 2021, really gave us an option to provide that connectivity for last mile, as well as being able to serve the rural community by stopping in Salem. So long-term access and flexibility for improvements is kind of what we were up to when we first launched the service, partnering with VDOT with the location. Next slide, please. All right, I believe this one's showing just a comprehensive look at the ridership for calendar year 25. We don't quite have all the data yet for fiscal year 26. I just went back and provided January through December of 25. But what it shows is northbound and southbound ridership from the calendar year. And really the key takeaway here is that Salem, although certainly not big in numbers, that is not the purpose of our program. It does continue to be one of, I'd say, a consistently strong performer, helping achieve our objective of connecting some rural communities into the Breeze system, for those that may have Salem as a destination or where they originate their trip. So it has both meaningful demand for both travel directions, really reinforcing the importance as a regional access point. Next slide, please. All right, this one is kind of giving just a high-level view of some cost and ridership trends. So we're looking at fiscal year 23 through fiscal year 26 at our operating costs and our ridership. So you can see the obvious trend here. Our operating costs rose about 2.9 million to just over 3.3 million in FY26. During that same period, ridership grew roughly 56,000 passengers to somewhere around 71,000 over that 3-year time span. So although costs are increasing, which is definitely a trend that we're seeing nationwide, as I know you're experiencing in different ways as well, the Virginia Breeze really continues to draw more riders year over year. So that growth really reinforces that this service meets a real mobility need and continues to demonstrate value for the Commonwealth and taking some of those vehicles off the road. Next slide, please. And I have already mentioned this, but I just wanted to kind of highlight it one more time. The Tidewater Current was about a 2.5-year-long project in terms of planning and stakeholder collaboration to actually putting it out on the streets in service. Definitely a long procurement process for that one too. But as I mentioned, this route is now live. It strengthens this, the statewide network by offering some new improved travel options across the Hampton Roads and Shenandoah Valley region, particularly along the I-64 corridor, and really represents our first true to east-west spine, enhancing some connectivity between those regions that historically really haven't had convenient intercity bus links. Next slide. So I wanted to just mention this just on a high level, that we are constantly studying how to improve and make efficient the use of our resources for intercity bus. So we're launching a new statewide study This is to guide the future of the program. We haven't officially launched it. It's still on the streets, and we're in the process of getting back some proposals for review with our general bench contract. So our goal with this study is really to understand the long-term financial sustainability of the service, evaluate some funding strategies, continue to consider some different service improvements, and identify some opportunities for expansion. Ultimately, we want a roadmap that's going to balance our costs, our access, and our operational reliability. Next slide, please. Financial planning is a real core part of this study. Just to hit on this, we're really needing to project how long current funding can sustain the system, given our rising operating costs, as well as our rising demand. So we're going to model different scenarios for possible expansion, looking at fare adjustments, maybe revenue sources that we're identifying and thinking of ways that we can tap into. But the idea there is to keep the system proactive rather than reactive, hopefully to ensure that the Virginia Breeze remains stable and resilient over many more years to come. Next slide, please. So we're also, with part of that, going to take a look at our fares and what we charge for tickets. So this includes benchmarking Virginia Breeze prices against peer systems nationwide. We're going to really dive into how to evaluate promotions and influence ridership and revenue by also exploring whether dynamic pricing could be an appropriate option for us. We're also going to consider whether those conditions would warrant protecting affordability and transparency for riders, and examining how those options for reduced fare program for seniors, for those with disabilities, and low-income residents really could benefit everyone regionally and statewide. Next slide, please. Okay, just in terms of ticketing and technology, wanted to just highlight this real quick. It's something that we're undergoing now, but we're really taking more control as a state on how we have our operators. Of course, we have turnkey operators that operate our service. We have Dillon's bus service, which is based in Maryland, and most recently with the Tidewater Current route, we're using Academy bus lines. But we're requiring that we use a third-party ticketing platform, which is really going to help make things more affordable, reducing booking fees that are needless for passengers, making it very seamless in terms of connecting one ticket, just a couple of clicks on one site versus having to navigate multiple sites. We're really thinking and knowing this is going to help ensure that we also never lose critical data or disrupt the rider's experience, even just booking their ticket. Next slide, please. All right, goes without saying, I just want to mention this is a big focus of the whole program, but regional connectivity is a vital role that the Virginia Breeze plays. We feed into the national intercity bus network with other private carriers so people can get all around the country. So it's essential for transportation in rural areas. It's also something that our department at DRPT wants to ensure that we have access to jobs, services, social opportunities, but it helps close the gaps in transportation while really, I think, supporting economic mobility statewide. Next slide. So some capital needs we're looking at too. I wanted to just highlight this briefly. It includes this study is going to really include potential investments in multimodal, looking at possibilities of multimodal hubs, improved park and ride facilities or amenities, possibly some dedicated bus bays in a conceptual form, really just more broadly to see what's possible and what may be on the horizon in terms of planning. But looking at ADA compliant boarding areas, enhanced downtown or campus area stops for the entire system, and potential projects, of course, are going to be evaluated down the road and ranked based on benefit, project readiness, feasibility, and of course, partnership opportunities. Next slide, please. Couple of things just to frame how DRPT measures success of this program, we want to see more connected communities, especially in rural towns that I mentioned. So those stronger links to Amtrak, to airports, to other intercity bus carriers, last mile options, those all reflect a demand, and we want to make sure that people can get where they need to go. But having a solid financial foundation for the future is very important. So ticketing systems that make operator transition seamless and improved rider experience for better stops and hubs and service reliability is how we all view the success of this program. Next slide, please. And I do want to mention this is something that we are not really used to talking about, and it's not something that we are actively looking to do, but something we keep in the back of our mind. Our role as a DOT with this program isn't to really compete against the private bus market. It's to support these corridors where service would otherwise just disappear. And that's how the Virginia Breeze really came to be. So if a corridor has stable schedules and demand and fares from private carriers, public support may not be needed in some cases. If we've restored that private carrier service, then I think the Virginia Breeze in some cases has done its job. So when service disappears or shrinks, however, that's where I think this program really serves as a safety net. So our goal is to minimize duplication, maximize coverage, and really ensure that the statewide network functions as one integrated system. All right, and then finally, last slide, please. To close, I just want to say that intercity bus works best when states and private carriers complement one another. Virginia's approach, I think, with this program has been pretty simple. We're going to support corridors that need help. We're going to look to potentially step aside where the market succeeds. And we're going to keep building a network that is connected, reliable, and really ready for the next decade of mobility. And with that, I am just want to say thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions if time allows.
Thank you. Any questions, Avery? Yes, Mike.
Avery, Mike Stewart. I'm the president CEO of the Roanoke Blacksburg Airport, president of the Virginia Airport Operators Council, and former airport manager at Dulles. How many airports do you currently serve today?
We currently stop at Dulles. Yeah, we currently stop at Dulles, and most recently are stopping at Richmond International Airport with the new Tidewater Current route. We did look when we were building the Tidewater Current route at Norfolk. However, one consideration that really played into the decision there was that there was no local connectivity. So HRT did not currently have a bus stop that would service that.
Have you ever looked at ROA?
That's going to be part of this study. Airports are definitely part of major focal points, what's driving people to certain areas. And that'll definitely be something we're exploring.
Just for what it's worth, and pardon me, Mr. Chairman, for taking extra time, but what I saw in your chart was about 5,000 plus passengers that are coming out of Salem and obviously ROA's catchment area going to Dulles. Whether they're get on an airplane there or not is a different story, but what we see every day and what we get a lot of complaints on is people in Southwest Virginia, further down, have two choices. They can either, if they don't want to drive somewhere else, most of them are drifting south into other states, or they're riding the bus all the way to Dulles. So maybe looking at whether we connect Southwest Virginia, give them an easier route to get to ROA. And I know there's also Shenandoah Valley Airport that's up the way there, but doesn't have quite the connectivity that ROA's got. And ROA does have the Valley Metro connection there at the airport. So, and the other one is, and we've got the bus that runs up down 81. The Lexington area, Washington and Lee and VMI, both good riders, I think, or potential good riders, have no way to get to ROA or to Roanoke in most cases. I don't think any public transportation, and finding paid transportation is very difficult. So we hear that complaint at the airport all the time. So just FYI.
It's excellent feedback. And I do want to just say that part of this study is definitely going to be involving stakeholders such as yourself. So this is all very, very valuable and will feed into this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else? Peter Bowles.
This is Peter Volson. I'm with Roanoke City. Mr. Doherty, have y'all thought about looking at the 460 corridor? Because I appreciate the current going to Stanton. You're getting farther west, but there's a lot west of Stanton. And there's also a kind of need here to connect Roanoke to the Hampton Bays area. Not Hampton Bays, Hampton Roads, excuse me. Hampton Roads area and Richmond, doing a true east-west where you're connecting the southern part of the state, where 64 probably originally was going to go, but moved up to Charlottesville. So one of those routes I'd really love for you guys to look at is the Roanoke. I don't care if you go to Lynchburg and Charlottesville and Richmond and then down, or if you go just on 460. I would imagine 460 hits a lot of rural South Virginia. And so that would be a good area for you guys to look at. And then I also had one question about the buses. You said that we use Academy that's from Maryland.
Sorry, we have two different contractors right now. We have a Dillon's bus service, which is really a part of Coach USA. They're based in Hanover, Maryland. And then we have Academy, which does have a hub in Norfolk, also a shop in Richmond.
Okay, great. I thought they were all from Maryland. And I was like, we need to make sure our state money stays in state.
Sure. Well, I will say, you know, that was something that we're looking for here. We did open it up very, we wanted to make sure we had ample competition and make it something worthwhile for even smaller providers. We didn't get the interest except from about 3 carriers. So we did have Marts, we did have Greyhound, we had Academy for this last RFP.
Okay, next Mayor Cobb.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Doherty, this is Joe Cobb from City of Roanoke. I appreciate the information about the ridership. Do you have demographic information in terms of deeper dive into the ridership? I'm just curious what the age range is and if it's mostly students, is it mostly seniors, is it a mix? I'm just curious about that, in part because of traffic to the airports, but also the number of universities that are along the way. I'm just curious if you had more information about the demographics.
No, thanks for the question. You're certainly kind of bringing. I'm not a true planner, but this is something that I always love to find out, as does our marketing team, to try to make sure we're reaching various demographics and can reach new targeted audiences. But so we do a sampling. We do annual surveying. Getting that information of age, reason for riding, income levels, things like that. And it is something that we're looking to try to figure out how to improve and get a higher sample. But we do that annually, and it's something that we get for each route. So happy to share that too once we, and we're due for one here later this year in November.
Great, thank you.
Any more questions? Very good question. Okay, Chris.
Hey, Avery, have you guys done any research already on maybe what drives that 5x difference between the north and southbound routes out of Salem?
I think a lot of it has to do with timing. That is definitely something that we're going to be focusing heavily on with this study. But I can't say concretely, but I feel like it has a lot to do with how those routes are based in the time. Being that the one route that does stop in Salem has to essentially start. Well, it arrives, I know, going south in Bristol very late, somewhere around 9:30. So one challenge we're looking to do with this route specifically is see how we can maximize efficiency for the whole corridor, and also make sure that people that are maybe traveling, if they're trying to go south, Roanoke to Bristol or you know, that region, that they have a last mile option too, since I know the local transit system there stops before we get there. So a lot of things that we're looking to try to figure out how to improve, but I can't put a finger on it exactly, but that's part of this study. And I do want to just push one thing real quick. We do have an open data portal. We're going to drop the link in in this chat and make sure we can get that to you. But on our website, we do have a lot of data that we collect and upload to make sure it's public. So it'll help you to dive in a little bit more. Won't get specific on age or other demographics, but it's definitely something that I think is worth looking at.
Hey, I got a question, Avery. So I get on the bus at in Salem and he goes to Union Station in Washington. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, how long does that take approximately?
So you would board Salem, don't quote me, it's somewhere around 1:45, I believe, if you're heading north, and would get to DC at Union Station around 6:45, I believe. So it's roughly going to take you about 4 hours. And that's just
Right.
because of the time in with Harrisonburg and Dulles and West Falls Church.
Right. Okay, thank you. Any more questions, Avery? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
All right, very informative. Number 6, legislative priority survey. Now, someone locked both doors because no one's leaving this room without completing the survey. Today, now, nobody. If you don't want to take the survey, or if you're a state employee and don't feel you should, I understand. You're excused. I don't want you to lose your job if you took the survey. But you must take the survey. Unless you want to draw an X to it and hand it in, for whatever personal reasons. So, Jeremy, take it away.
I think you said everything that. There. So as you all know, the Regional Commission leads a legislative agenda development and outreach effort every year. We start that around this time. We begin working with our state legislators over the summer to develop our meetings and propose or advocate for legislative needs. So what you see before you is the legislative committee has done some initial work identifying potential legislative priorities for next year. One of the bits of feedback that we continue to get from our legislators and our partners in the chamber and other folks that we coordinate this with is to reduce and emphasize a smaller number of more important things. You know, so the last couple of years, we've had 5 key items. This year, we're trying to push it down to 3 key items that we'll be bringing to our legislative delegation over the summer. So what the legislative committee's goal is to hold both this body and the regional commission hostage for about 5 or 10 minutes to complete these surveys. What we'd ask you to do is the recommended items or some suggestions that they came up with for the last legislative committee meeting across these 3 primary areas: economic development, transportation, education, are listed. But we don't want to limit it to that. We want to provide an opportunity if there's other items that you think are important, we'd like you to include them. So on this piece of paper, if you would, to the extent that you feel comfortable representing your locality, if you could check the box next to anything that you think is important for your locality. It doesn't have to necessarily be your legislative priority, but if you think it's something that will impact or is otherwise a priority for your locality, please check it. If you think an item should be one of the regional commission's 3 legislative priorities, fill in the circle for that item. And there's space for you to add additional items at the bottom of that sheet. Many of you might have received an email about an online survey. We have a survey that we'll keep open, had open for a week, we'll keep open next week for additional input for folks who aren't here. I do want to remind everybody the TPO does not take legislative stances on items. TPO is a federally funded program, so this is information that the regional commission will use to generate its legislative agenda. And we're looking to this body to provide input on transportation and other issues. For those of you who serve on the regional commission, we won't ask you to do this twice. That would be cheating. So you'll complete one survey and we'll ask you to sit out if you're hanging out over at the regional commission.
I've got one that haven't turned in. I got one I did online. You're saying I can't do Two more today?
I guess you're not putting your name on it, so I can't
Okay.
enforce what I don't.
That was gonna be my right anyway.
So, does anybody have any questions about this? Otherwise, yes, sir.
We got any clarity on what supporting brick and
Yeah.
investing in Route 220 means?
Right now, that is as clear as we've got. We have not drilled down into this. If there are into some of these ideas, these are just sort of what bubbled up from the legislative committee. You know, in the past, we've looked at going back and forth, was, do we make specific dollar asks? Do we not make specific dollar asks? Are there specific policies or general policy statements? I figured out this year which of those routes to take. So that's kind of where we are at the moment.
I'm just looking to see, is there a way to boil it down to what we support being what is within our planning district?
Yeah. For example, you know, I'll just tell you what one of mine was. I support Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor if it includes Roanoke Blacksburg Airport.
Or even 220 between.
220. Yeah. it's
And
anything like that.
Roanoke, okay.
And that is a good question, a good point. This is focused on the Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Commission's priorities, so we would not support necessarily something that the largest impact of which is outside of this regional footprint. That would be kind of the assumption. That's why we'll work very closely with our delegation for them to understand of X, Y, or Z, here's why that's important to this region, or why if a policy is benefiting someone else more, you know, just what those dynamics are. And Brick is clearly, 4 planning districts, I think, that are included in the Brick footprint. So this is focused on,
Yeah.
on our region.
Let me elaborate on the process. So we take this information and we compile it into a report for the legislative committee. They go through it. They obviously will look and see what's the highest priorities. And then that's what will drive the legislative agenda. They'll come back to this regional commission, and I guess
We'll inform this
we'll
body,
inform you.
but it goes to the region.
But we'll have to vote on it then at the regional commission. And then there will be meetings scheduled with area legislators that will agree to meet with us to share this with them. And there'll be some people that don't agree with some of it. There'll be people that do agree with some of it. And then having scheduled those meetings, then take it to Richmond next year. The cards that these will come on, and we'll share it with others in the General Assembly. Especially the money committee chairs that don't know what Roanoke is. And anyway, we'll let them know that we exist and what we're thinking out here. So that's kind of the way it's going to work. This is a enhanced methodology than what we've done in the past. It seems to improve with each year going by, so. For a chance to put down your thoughts and let's see what we got. If you think someone doesn't, if you think your board or your body or your county, not the majority opinion, then, you know, you might not want to put it down. Or you may not want to agree with what's on here.
It's true.
We're not putting name on.
Yeah, well, you don't know who you're right. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lee. Hey, turn the lights on back there, y'all.
I can see, okay.
Lee, you're a blur to me, Lee. Oh, that is Lee. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna be brave and indicate my ignorance. Can you explain to me what the local composite index is and why?
Yes, I can.
Why it is considered out of date?
Yes, I can. The local composite index is a calculation that's derived by people in Richmond in the school divisions. That gives you a calculation. For example, Roanoke County's was 0.3645. Now, for the next 2 years, starting July 1, it's dropped to 0.34 something another. It resulted in an additional $2.7 million funding coming in from Richmond. That's in the budget if it ever passes. It's a measure of the locality's ability to support the schools. That's really put simply what it is. And it's an interesting calculation, which I can't get into right now. Some rural counties, like Franklin County and Craig County, they're getting less than what they used to get under the LCI because their LCI went up. And if it goes up, you get less money. If it goes down, you get more money than you got the year before. So with this 2-year budget coming up July 1, if they ever pass it, the LCI is calculated for that 2-year budget cycle. So what we're trying to do is to inform the impact of this to our localities. Like Sam Rasul is the education K-12 chair. He needs to understand the impact of our area, the different governments, and how we're helped or hurt. And get some color from him as to determine how this can work better. Now, is it gonna change next year? I doubt it, because it's a 2-year calculation. Every 2 years they change it. But this time, it really changed more drastically than before. So that's what the LCI is. It drives the funding from the state to the counties for schools.
And what would constitute modernizing? Just viewing
Well,
or?
that's a great question. Maybe that wasn't a good term, who came up with modernized, but I think the JLARC people had a report 2 years ago. We don't know if they followed that report. And so that's the dialogue we hope to have locally with our elected officials, especially Sam. And then we may end up changing this to something else in terms of wording when we come back. Because it's a fluid agenda. It can change in the process as needed.
As a,
You know, most towns don't get funding for schools, I don't think. It goes to the counties, I believe.
Otherwise, you don't have to weigh the things that should give me too.
So that's where we're headed with that. Well, anyone got any more questions? And if you can't think of anything other than something else, just go with what's on here and tell us your priorities. Put your checks or color in your circles, whatever, how you choose to assess this. Oh, by the way, one of the reasons for doing this is so that we don't have 3 different local bodies, the Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Regional Partnership, the Regional Commission running around with 3 different agendas. We're trying to synchronize them so that they're all somewhat together, at least have 1 or 2 items that are similar. So people get tired of hearing about everything we want. They'll hear about the same things over and over. And maybe they'll give us some money in the hopes we go away and don't ask for anything else. I don't know if that's true. All right.
I suspect everyone's now had time to complete, so if you wouldn't mind just leaving it at your spot, we'll collect up on back later. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for assisting us with this.
By the way, in the package, this document, the TED study,
Yes.
this is an example of the transportation economic adoption that came out of the, didn't they come out of the, what's the committee beholds on?
It is a partnership between the TPO and the SED. Yeah,
That's
joint after
So,
those two.
the SEDS committee, which has a SEDS document. TPO came up with this, maybe something on here you see that you like. You can think about it. And include on. Okay. Let's appoint someone to make sure they stand at the door and collect these. Okay. Now, can you handle that? Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 7, on pages 34 through 36 of your agenda package. Fiscal year 24 through 27, tip amendment number 8. Chair recognizes Alice Cadet. Alice, tell us about that.
Well, it's actually me.
Oh, Chris.
Sorry.
Well, the agenda says Alice and Chris, so we'll change.
You can
that.
do it if you want, Alex.
No, that's fine.
Keep the excitement level up here with the,
She's on guard
Tip
to
amendment.
get the survey.
All right. The first one is, got, so this is, tip amendment, fiscal years 24-27, amendment number 8. First one is, GRP 0007 for AEP hardware. Expenses have increased due to higher labor and operating costs. Supply chain issues, tariffs and inflation have raised costs for fuel, healthcare, parts, contractor services. And AEP hardware upgrades are needed to support updated ABL equipment, future mobile fare technology. See that changes are highlighted there again. This speaking for balance wall. Second one's GRT 0008 for shop equipment. Expenses have increased due to higher labor and operating costs. Supply chain issues, tariffs, and inflation raised costs for fuel, healthcare, parts, and contractor services. And shop equipment upgrades are needed to support electric buses and expanded maintenance at the new 3rd Street Station Transit Center. Proposed change, so highlighted it.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Chris? If not, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have anyone to speak?
Lisa, no one's online. Here.
Oh, no one's online. Okay, then we will close the public hearing. Moving on to item 7C, consideration of resolution approving this amendment 8. It's found on page 36. Do I have a motion that we approve this?
Second.
Hey, you got that? That said, the voice vote.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Moving on now to item 8, pages 37 to 38 on your package. As page completed the program fiscal years 27 through 30. I will extend that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, everyone on the board. So this item is the FFY 27 to 30 Transportation Improvement Program. And I just wanted to reference the link in the agenda was broken. So if you would all like a physical copy, I have copies for everybody. So let me know afterwards if you would like one. So just a little bit of background. We've been working on the TIP for a while. And the TIP is a 4-year program, and it schedules the federal funding for the regional transportation projects that includes highway transit, bicycle pedestrian, and other multimodal improvements. And it reflects project priorities that are also identified in the long range plan. So a lot of the projects that are in the TIP are in the long range plan, but it's not the other way around. There are some things that are in the long range plan that are not in the TIP. But there is some overlap with those projects as well. So the TTC and RVTPO policy board members reviewed the draft TIP and provided feedback from last month's presentation. So the document that was attached to today's agenda is that updated finalized document. And that document then had public engagement process, and that was from April the 17th through the 30th. And we posted it on newspaper for Cardinal News, our social media apps, all of the RBARC websites and our engagement sites. And from that effort, we received 4 responses, and there was mixed levels of support of the questions that were asked. There was about 3 questions that asked. It gave the background about what the TIP is, what we're asking people to review, and then whether or not they supported it generally. And we only had really 1 public comment, and they just said that they thought it was good that we were approving the plan. So, and then we didn't really have any consensus on the demographics, but the information that we did receive is that it was more on the older age groups that participated. There was a wide range of household incomes, and there was about 4 zip codes that were represented of those who participated. So.
All right, with that said, we'll open the public hearing. Do we have anyone to speak? Okay, so we'll close the public hearing. Move on to item 8D, approval of the resolution. Found on page 39. Do I have a motion and a second?
Move resolution.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Any noes? Okay. Move on to item 9. 2026 Ted study recommendation, pages 40 and 41 of your package. And let's see, Allison.
Yes, sir. So we have come to the end, hopefully, for the Transportation Economic Development Study. This has been long coming. We've been working on this project for a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years at this point. And we had shown a draft at the last meeting. Okay, sorry. It was presented at the April meetings, and staff requested edits from the document. We received great recommendations from our locality partners on how to improve the document. Projects were incorporated, edits were incorporated. So this finalized document is presented in front of you today. It was presented at the TTC meeting, and we have the document is attached in the staff report, and it also has a colorful sheet that Mr. North just showed a little earlier about the regional priorities. So just an overview of what is actually in the document, if you still haven't managed to be reading it yet. So it will have the executive summary, introduction and background of what the TED study is, what the update process was for this effort, and then what the identified regional priorities and projects were, what are the next steps and implementations. There's a full list of the regionally significant projects that were submitted from our localities and partners, our outreach engagement summary, and then funding source and eligibility information. So that, with that all being said, we have the final document in front of you all today.
Okay, thank you. You know, this is an important document. It's used to share with elected officials and whatnot, so they can appreciate what our priorities are in this area. So with that said, I would like to ask that after the meeting today, we share this, some communication fashion with all members of the legislative body of the state, as well as the federal government, to congressmen and state senators. If we don't advertise this, if we don't share this, and it's a nice piece of paper we have here at house. So, that said, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve item 9. So, have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Ayes. Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to item 10, Allison, the 2045 Roanoke Valley Transportation Plan Amendment on the 6th. That on pages 42 through 45. Agenda pack.
Thank you, sir. So we are in the process of doing a amendment. This is the first look for you all to see what some of the projects that we are proposing to incorporate into the Roanoke Valley Transportation Plan, both for the priority projects to pursue list as well as the funded projects list. So in the staff report, you see that there is a administrative section that just outlines all of the projects that we are administratively adding into that have had prior approval through other sub-allocation funding programs. So that is a part of that, but then there's the amendment part that outlines in the staff report all of the projects that are being proposed in the into the amendment. So just a high level of what that is. We had a call for projects, and so a lot of the projects that you see in the list are from the localities or organizations that wanted this into the long range plan to help support them for other funding opportunities, and also getting us up to speed and ready for the upcoming development of the 2050 Roanoke Valley Transportation Plan. So there are a couple projects that are being requested to be added into the priority projects to pursue list from Roanoke County and the city of Salem. And there are several projects from the city of Salem to be added into the funded list that have been funded or are regionally significant. And that is why they have not been added into the long range plan as of yet. So those are those projects. And then there is roughly 40 projects that have been reviewed and will be continued reviewed with our VDOT partners to ensure that those projects are closed out and to be removed from the funded list, which is fiscally constrained, just to sort of pare down an update to remove some of those projects as they roll off and finish. So that is the amendment. We will have public comment soon. And hopefully we will have action at the June meeting. Help us get ready for smart scale applications and having all of this updated and ready for smart scale applications.
Any questions on item 10 for Allison? Okay, there's no action on that item. Item 11 is other business, smart scale pre-applications, updating timeline reminders. Allison, can you help us with that?
Yes, sir. So it's been a while since we've talked about this, and in the world of smart scale, it's been a little while. So I just wanted to give you a brief update about the applications that the TPO and the Regional Commission resulted in supporting and processing, but because it is different from what we originally had stated several months ago. So I'm just gonna run through them. For the TPO applications, all four of them are from the Roanoke County, and they are the Route 419 corridor improvements, start the road to Colonial Avenue, Route 419 at Chaparral Drive, Peters Creek Road corridor improvements, and Peters Creek Road at Williamson Road roundabout. And then for the RVRC applications, both from Botetourt County. First one is Route 11 Shadwell Drive, signalized continuous 3T. And the second one is Cloverdale Road, alternate 220 from East Park Drive to Reed Mountain Road. So those were the applications that we submitted for pre-apps. And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention is the timeline. So full applications open the first Monday of June. So and then we have training on June 3rd. And if you are interested to participate, you can register on the Smart Scale website. And then final applications close August 3rd. And then from August through December is the state and the review process for the program. So
Everybody got those dates down pat? Then in January, we'll find out whether we got projects funded or not.
yes,
There you go. Yes,
Can we get that sent to us electronically? It's not already.
this page,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
good idea.
Just like that written down.
You want to make sure you got it in daytimer or in your phone or something.
That's right.
Good, I don't blame you. Lots of dates. You don't say, oh man, I missed the date. Who else? Anyone else got any questions on this, Allison? You know, it comes every 2 years, but she works on it for like a year and a half before you submit. And this new Secretary of Transportation is the author and or architect of Smart Scale. So when you say to him, like we did recently, we sent some changes in for the CTV to think about and look over. He's going to defend his product, which is the Smart Scale calculations. And so I got to meet him at the last meeting here at Roanoke, when he was here for the 6-year improvement plan. He says, well, you know, said if you don't get anything funded, I said, well, we didn't get anything funded 2 years ago. If you don't get anything funded, or you don't get one of the projects, you always have that 4-month period where there's a lot of horse trading going on the CTP. So if you feel strong about something you didn't get, make sure you tell your Commonwealth Transportation Board about that. And that's really how the project at 419 and 220 for the city and county got funded, because we had support from both bodies and both governing bodies, but it's also did not make the cut in the Smart Scale application 3 or 4, or whichever one that was. And so Dr. Smoot was able to revisit that with the governing bodies and and we got some funding. I think it was short a couple million. And so that was what, 5 years ago, and now it's just started construction. So that was an example of some things that didn't make the cut. Now you heard what happened with all the snow removal expenses, and that could impact some of those pots of money like the district grant or not. But I honestly don't know what the budget for 27 that hasn't been approved in Richmond holds for smart scale. Do you have any idea on that? So we won't know that until the budget passes, right? And so we'll learn more about that later, but hopefully it's the same or maybe a little more than 2 years ago. And we don't have any clue as to how many applications there are yet. We'll do that later on too.
Statewide,
Statewide, you know? Yeah, yeah.
about 400. About 400 statewide. We're about 40 in our district.
49 district, 400 statewide, and the last time there weren't that many, were there?
In our district, there were more. Last round, we had.
Yes.
6.
Yes.
Our district.
No.
Overall.
Yeah.
That's probably.
Yeah, good. Thanks for that information. So we're competing to get 400 applications. One way or the other. All right, thank you, Allison, for that. Any comment by the TPO policy board members or anyone in the public? Yeah, yes. Barbara,
Mr. Chairman,
Barbara, you have 3 minutes.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. May is Flag Month, yes, and that I am America. What is the 250 tag for Virginia? America. Made in Virginia. That's our Virginia tag, America made in Virginia. And one of the things that it was first written by bicycle in 1976 was the Trans-America Bicycle Trail. And you've seen the display outside that shows you all the signs that have been upgraded. Want to give a shout out to VDOT for doing an excellent job of marking this route through 20, how many counties? How many counties? I gave you the piece of paper as you walked in. How many counties?
22.
22 counties.
I didn't get the exam.
22 counties in Virginia, and want you to know several things that are happening. One, and right now is that there's a historic marker that's going up on 779 near Daleville Town Center. And it's going to be probably on June the 29th. That in 1976, there was over 4,000 cyclists that rode across country on Bike Route 76. And this year, the touring companies and the long distance route cyclists are not coming through Virginia. So we have America made in Virginia, and they're totally avoiding our history. They're starting the cross-country rides at Georgetown and Washington, DC, going to Cumberland, and then going to on the Greater Allegheny Passage to Pittsburgh. So what I'm asking you to do, if you're in VDOT, if you have decision-making capabilities, is for us to connect our Commonwealth both on-road and off-road. I know we have the Capitol Trail that connects to the Fall Line Trail, but we need to get Ashland connected to Charlottesville to Lexington to Roanoke to Blacksburg, and we can do Roanoke to Blacksburg because we've got the Valley to Valley in Montgomery County's regional plan, and hopefully it's in our plan too. This again is the historic marker that's going up on June the 22nd. And then there was a bill passed in the General Assembly, Senate Bill 832 about vulnerable road users. I am a vulnerable road user, and this is what Roanoke City has done about the vulnerable road user. They're asking people to take Roanoke's Vision Zero Pledge. And I ask you, I didn't bring the papers, I didn't bring the pledge today, but I ask you to pledge to be a Vision Zero highway user. Thank you very much and look forward to seeing you out on the road.
Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate that. Always good news. Anyone else have anything? Steve Lajikowski.
For those that are on this came up earlier, Mr. Holiday, we're talking about it, truck parking committee is gonna be having a first meeting on June the 2nd, and that will be on Zoom. Okay, so.
That will be where by then?
On Zoom, by Zoom, yes.
Do we have enough people, Chris, on that committee?
We'll get more people. I think we've got all the, I think Bottom is still, they have given us someone and they're looking to get another person, but all of the, most affected localities are currently. We appreciate all that.
Good. Thank you. Yes, Mike.
So since Barb claimed this as Bike Month, I'm gonna claim June for Flying Month. And remind everybody that 8 days, we'll see you out there getting on an airplane, we're gonna go to Dallas. So just, we're ready to go. So, and we appreciate all the support.
There you go. And here it comes. And remember, you gotta use it or we'll lose it. But simple. Gotta use it when there's anyone else. Okay, that was motion to adjourn.
Somebody.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And.
I mean, I'm kind of like